I just want to make it clear. If Clyde has a piano recital, Clyde comes first, okay, chat? You need to understand that. Clyde has a piano recital. Clyde's got an emergency swim lesson. Whatever it is for Clyde, he will always come first. I was at the Waffle House earlier handling combos, yes. There's a couple of Waffle Houses near Euclid and Medina. Medina's a long way from me. Why did I drive all the way to Medina? That just seems dumb. Yes, I'm selfless, totally selfless. Totally selfless. All right, chat. So welcome to the show tonight. We are going to be covering this. Somebody sent it to me and they had watched it. I'm not had a chance to go through it, but this is the dismissal case or the hearing that ends up with the dismissal against the Michigan electors. And if you guys remember right, in 2020, various groups, they put together their slates of electors and, they had to claim these people were all fake and they're frauds. But were they? No, it's not. They were not frauds. And this judge is going to be able to see through it at the end of the day and say, "Oh, this smells like bullshit to me. It smells like bullshit." And we're going to go through it here. Guys, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream. And then we'll probably do some model stuff afterwards. But I just thought this would be a good thing for tonight. Yeah, I was kind of like, I thought we'd do all kinds of shit tonight. And I was like, yeah, we're going to scale back. And I didn't just want to do the model stuff. I wanted to give you guys some quality content. Yes, it's all Mike Pence's fault. So we're gonna do this here. And did I see the Destiny motion and dismiss? No, Red, I did not. So Tiny found some stones after all to finally, like, what took them so long? What took them so long? What took him so long? But anyways, we're gonna get to this here, guys, and this is a case being held in front of the Honorable Kristen Simmons. She's a judge in Wayne County, or I'm sorry, Lansing. And guys, Lansing is where the state capital of Michigan is. And this is going to be the hearing. It is from 10 days ago, so it's still pretty new. And we got some closed captioning going. This is going to be on Zoom, so this is like a normal courtroom's, camera's not the best, but you're going to have to suffer and make do with it. But I do think it's important to see how this goes here. So we're going to get to that here. So anyways, thank you guys for being here. Real quick, John Coleman gifting 5 subs. Thank you, John. I always like that. That's the meanest little mushroom with the chef's knife. It being Friday and all. Chat, it is finally Friday, so there you go. Thank you, John, for your generosity. Spuggun has been a member for 9 months. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. It says, "Hi, Sandwich Man. Glad you made it late and gay." Late and gay? I mean, like, it's like 3 a.m. for you over there. Oh, buddy. Thank you for being here. Jefferson Post says, "Nate and Joe go hard. Glad they're friends." Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. The Chugi Show for $4.99. Thank you. Saying, "I tried listening to Layback Law, but once Nate and Joe got into it, I had to switch it off. The entire country needs a handful of Clyde special treats." Yeah, but Nate and Joe, that's what Nate and Joe do. They do their thing. When they get back when there's so much time in between them going at it, I start to worry if the world's off kilt. But when they go back at it, it's like the timeline recorrects and readjusts. So it's good to see them it's good to see them having it out. And Paralegal Liz been a member 7 months. Thank you, Liz. Says, "Sean, you're amazing." And don't get too carried away with the compliments, but thank you. Have a great weekend. You too. All right, guys. So remember, this is the Dana Nessel, the Attorney General of Michigan, and Gretchen Whitmer going after, people that opposed and didn't like how 2020 turned out. Remember, with all those 3 a.m. vote jumps. Remember, the most reinforced and honest election ever. So here we go, guys. Here we go. So just a couple of seconds here.
The record in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Kathleen Bearden, William Choate, Amy Pashinello, Clifford Frost, Stanley Brock, John Haggard, Marianne Henry, Timothy.
Remember, these are all the electors on that signed the document, so they all got charged, and these are all the attorneys.
King, Michelle Lundgren, Sean Maddox, Myra Rodriguez, Rose Rook, Marianne Sheridan, and Kenneth Thompson. Council appearances, please.
Assistant Attorney General Kayla Crano, appearing on behalf of the people. Good morning, Your Honor.
Someone's phone ringing.
Sound like the SpongeBob.
Turn it around, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Your Honor. Kevin Kievsky, P74-153, appearing on behalf of Mr. Frost, who's seated immediately behind me.
Morning, Your Honor. Attorney John Freeman on behalf of Marianne Sheridan, who is seated behind me.
Good morning, Your Honor. George Brown on behalf of Marianne Henry, who's seated to my right.
Mike Smith appearing on behalf of Mr. Timothy King, who's on Zoom too.
Morning, Your Honor. Dave Coleman appearing on behalf of Mr. Choate, and he is right here seated behind me.
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Bolano on behalf of Rose Rook, who is presiding court.
Good morning, Your Honor. George Denis and Garrett Koger on behalf of Kathleen Bearden, who is participating via Zoom.
Good morning, Your Honor. Paul Stamplin appearing on behalf of Amy Pashinello, who is seated in the front row.
Good morning, Your Honor. Mary Chartier on behalf of John Haggard, who is not present or on Zoom because of a medical procedure today. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor. Daniel, who is also on behalf of Mr. Haggard. And good morning, Your Honor. Nicholas Somberg and
Good morning, Your Honor. Dwayne Silverthorne appearing by Zoom.
Now, some of you guys are saying, well, wait, that guy's not there. He had probably a medical excuse. He was excused from being in court. This is a hearing about the motion that was filed, so him being here wouldn't necessarily be critical. And yes, if it's a medical procedure, courts will allow it, especially if it's like a major thing. Like if you're like, oh, I'm getting a toenail removed. No. Or I'm getting like, I'm going to my dermatologist, he's going to laser my face. No. But like, I'm getting a mole removed. I'm getting a biopsy. Like I'm getting serious work done. The court will allow you not to be there.
On behalf of Michelle Lundgren, who is also appearing by Zoom.
David Gilbert on behalf of Ken Thompson, who's seated in the back row.
Morning, Your Honor. Derek Wilchinski on behalf of Stanley Grote, who's here with me by Zoom. We waive formal appearance in court.
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Boville on behalf of Mr. Kent Vanderwood, who waives his appearance today due to competing medical appointments.
Good morning, Your Honor. Wright Blake appearing by Zoom for Myra Rodriguez.
And why are they all not here? Because of medical appointments? They're boomers. These are all older people who are involved in this stuff. So that's why they're not there. That's why they're not there. And some of the attorneys aren't there too, because they got other shit they're dealing with.
Who's also appearing by Zoom.
I think that is everyone. Thank you, everybody. I know it was a lot assembling you all in here in this small space, but I think we were able to navigate it technically with one over the limit, but I think we'll be okay. Today was the date and time that was scheduled to complete a series of preliminary examinations for a 15 co-defendant criminal complaint. A couple of housekeeping matters. There was a motion to reopen the proofs that was filed. The court is in receipt of that. The court did not receive a responsive motion from the people, but the court is denying the motion to open the proofs. So I wanted to make sure that was on the record. The other issue was a informal request that the court received from one of the attorneys requesting a apology of some sort because they were the subject of some investigation relative to a social media post. The court addressed any issue relative to that in chambers in private. And that individual who's requesting the apology later returned to the courtroom where the media was present, other members of the case were present, and my staff was present, and also the cameras that are here, and proceeded to advise everyone as to what the in-chambers conversation was. So any ramifications that came from that was attributed to their own actions and not to the court, because I handled that in chambers. And so there will be no apology from the court for that. Okay, so now for the reason that we're here, because there is a lot that the court wants to go over. Again, this is a hearing that marks the—
Wait, you mean an attorney spurred out and the court's like, nah, we ain't doing that? Never happens. Never, like, God, your emotion for an apology from the court? Holy shit. Wow, that is prima donna right there.
culmination of a lengthy and hotly contested felony preliminary examination that originally charged 16 co-defendants with 8 felony counts. Each co-defendant had been charged with count 1, conspiracy to commit forgery, counts 2 and 3, forgery, count 4, conspiracy to commit uttering and publishing, and then count 5, uttering and publishing, count 6, conspiracy to commit election law forgery, and count 7 and 8 being election law forgery. At the time of the preliminary examination, the state exclusively bears the burden of proof in this.
Now, remember, chat, uttering means presentment. So if you utter a false document, you're offering it, you're presenting that false document. So if I forge a check at the bank, I'm uttering it as well. Uttering is just a different term for it. In some places, you actually have to do that, like they consider that a separate act or something. That's why you hear the term uttering. Uttering means you're offering it up.
To a probable cause standard, that there's sufficient evidence that a felony was committed, and then
also, guys, I can't fix the volume. This is court audio. You're just gonna have to adjust it on your end, up or down. Like I've got it up. If you need it down, turn it down. That's all I can really do, because if I mess with it for you guys, then it messes it with it for everybody. So it's Zoom audio and it sucks.
Sufficient evidence to charge each individual defendant with committing said felonies. This is not a trial. They don't have to prove each element beyond a reasonable doubt. They only have to establish more than mere suspicion that the crime.
I mean, right now, are you telling me it's down? You can't hear me? Hold on. Let me fix. Hold on. Wait 1 second here. You guys are saying, hold on here. Is this better, chat? Okay. You're too quiet. Adjust your mic. All right, there. That's what I was trying to figure it out. Okay. Your audio is way lower than the court. I know it's probably is a little bit. So here we go.
Alleged, or that there was a crime, and that the crime alleged was committed by the named defendants. At this juncture, the people must only provide, again, that low burden, and it's a flexible burden, but the court is the sole determiner of any credibility issues of the witnesses, and the court also is in the position to weigh the likelihood of the prosecutor's success at trial. So this is a court of law. We deal solely with the facts as presented at the time of the examination. I will apply the law as it exists in the state of Michigan at the time in question, and in weighing the evidence, make my determination about the success of this case. The state, although originally charging 16 co-defendants, moved forward with 15, dismissing 1 of the alleged co-conspirators in exchange for his testimony and cooperation with the prosecution of this case. It is the state's position, based on their bind-over briefing, that on the date on or about December 4th, 2020, the named defendants convened in Lansing, Michigan, at the Michigan Republican headquarters for the purposes of conspiring and agreeing to vote and publish a fraudulent document. That document being a certificate of elector votes to the state capitol. This meeting would take place in the basement of the Michigan Republican Party headquarters, located in the city of Lansing, state of Michigan, making venue in this court appropriate. At the time, either defendant identified as defendant Kathy Bearden or defendant identified as Myra Rodriguez started the meeting. Some of the people in the meeting introduced themselves allegedly, and there was allegedly a white male that spoke.
A white male.
Either defendant Bearden or defendant Rodriguez advised that the purposes of said meeting first was to develop a slate of candidates that would be presented to the state Senate by 2 p.m. on that date, December 14, 2020. And that the actors being the nominee electors, understood that in the event that there was a successful recount that found that candidate for president at the time, Donald Trump, had in fact won the election, that it would be used at that time, and that the electors would not have to later reconvene for a meeting for the purposes of voting. The purpose, again, of the meeting would be to accomplish a signing of a document. The people presented in their case in chief and in their binder brief that they believe that the group was advised of 2 purposes of signing the document. Again, to be presented at the—
Okay, chat. Some of you guys are saying court's still way too loud. Let me know if this is better. Let me know if this is better.
Capitol that day, along with the Democratic slate, and that it was not to be a contingent on Trump being declared the true winner of the election, but that the group understood that it would be presented stating that in fact Trump had won the election. The people did not indicate exactly who they believe provided this information to the suspected electors. The people alleged that at the time of this meeting, there were two pertinent documents in the building, one being a contingent document that the people's witness Zamet and Hudson expected would be signed, and that would be not nominating the electors, and then also a fraudulent certificate. The document or alleged documents, if the court believes that there were these documents, were signed by the group of nominee electors, and some of the Republican elected nominees then later proceeded to march or walk to the Capitol of the state of Michigan in an attempt to present this signed document at the Capitol. They were met by the people's witness, Captain Darren Green from the Michigan State Police, who denied them access into the Capitol. Green advised that the electors had already been checked in, to which someone could be heard on People's Exhibit 12, which was a video that was emitted during the series of examination. And someone could be heard saying during this time that these are the other electors. On this same exhibit, the court could see and hear another party, which I believe was reported to be someone by the name of Norton, hold up a manila envelope and state, we have a copy of paperwork that was prepared as electors under their constitutional duty. He requested to speak to the sergeant of arms, but he was denied. Captain Green also refused to accept the envelope to be delivered on their behalf. Copies of this alleged certificate or alternate certificate was later received from East Lansing by the National Archives and by the General Counsel or the Secretary of the United States Senate. State police later examined during the investigation the signatures located on that alternate document and determined them to belong to the original 16 co-defendants named or identified in this case. One of the people's key witnesses, that being Agent Howard Shaw, testified that he was assigned to investigate this case in December 2022, only 2 months after his stint at the Office of the Attorney General. Agent Shaw testified that he wrote.
Now, I will say, I give the judge credit here, because remember, this is the motion to dismiss, so she's reciting all the facts and reviewing what's been presented. And it's the government's burden to prove that they have enough to meet the probable cause standard. And she's discussing the entire history of this case. And I think it's helpful. If you guys don't fully understand what this was, this is a 2020 issue about the slates of fake electors, not, the fact they were alternatives. But remember, Gretchen Whitmer is a raving loon Democrat, and her attorney general is a raving lunatic also. So they went after these people because they wanted to go after them. So was Maddie on today? I don't know. I do not know. But she's doing a great way of laying all of this out here. So if you guys didn't understand it, this is a very, very good explanation. Why though? She should only explain if they got something. Well, because she's when they're laying out, she's laying out the record of here's the entirety of their case. It doesn't work. This is insulating herself from getting appealed.
And executed numerous search warrants and reviewed countless open source videos and photos of the alleged incident and the defendants that he terms as fraudulent electors attempting to publish their certificate to the Capitol. The elements of the charges that have been brought against these co-defendants, one being for forgery, the people would need to show probable cause that first, a document in question must have been falsely made, altered, forged, or counterfeit. Second, that the defendants falsely made, altered, forged, or counterfeited this document. Third, that the defendants did this, and when they did this, that he or she intended to defraud or cheat someone. To establish uttering and publishing, the people would need to establish first that the document in question, in this case, that being the alternate certificate of electors, was either false, altered, forged, or counterfeited, and that the title of the certificate was false or made a false statement. Second, that the defendant or defendants represented either by words or actions or both that the document was genuine or true, and they either exhibited, offered, or presented said document. Third, that when the defendants did this, he or she knew that the document was false, altered, forged, or counterfeited. And then fourth, that when the defendants did this, he or she intended to defraud or cheat someone. Both of these are specific intent crimes, even the charges that are conspiracy. to commit said actions. The court has taken a review of the statute and the principles surrounding its statutory construction. The court has interpreted forgery, the forgery statute that is under Michigan Compiled Law 750.248, as well as the uttering publishing under 750.249, to both be property related crimes that does not apply to the facts of this case. Even, however, if the court were to take the position that the statute applies to the facts of this case, I think that the people would still be deficient in some of the elements for the purposes of bindover. We'll get into that a little bit later. So that leaves the court with the charges of conspiracy to commit election law forgery and election law forgery, to which the people would need to prove that a person who does either of the following for any purposes under this act is guilty of forgery: that they knowingly make, file, or otherwise publish a false document with the intent to defraud, knowingly makes, files, or otherwise publishes a document that contains false signatures with the intent to defraud. The court has reviewed and heard all of the testimony over a series. Originally, we tried to do this in 2 settings. As you can see, we can't fit everyone in this courtroom. And then due to some of the medical issues and or mental health issues of some of the co-defendants, it ends up being 3 settings. And because of the voluminous nature of the evidence that was presented, parties needed time to go over and digest that information. And then the court had to give leeway for bindover, meaning you gotta get the transcripts, which we had to farm that out. We had to get someone to help produce all of these transcripts because of the amount of days and hours spent into receiving testimony in this court. So the idea that the court in some way delayed this matter is preposterous because of the nature and the monumental nature of the case, and then the amount of defendants that we can't even fit in one courtroom. And so the court again reviewed all of the testimony and reviewed the people's bindover motion as well as each defendant's responsive motion in opposition, and then the court makes the specific findings. The people presented a large amount of evidence, including testimony, evidence, some videos, photographs, and text messages, and social media posts. The people's key witness, at least who the court believes was their key witness, was Mr. James Renner. He was originally one of the alleged co-conspirators charged in this case, and I believe provided some very critical and crucial testimony. He testified that at the request of Janelle Leonard, who was the chairman of the Clinton County Republican Party, he attended the meeting in Lansing at the Michigan Republican Party headquarters on December 14, 2020. Prior to attending this meeting, he testified that he was not aware of the purpose of the meeting, but that he would be filling in for an elector. This wasn't his first time in the building. This wasn't his first time being contacted by Janelle Leonard to attend some meeting, so it didn't strike him as something out of the ordinary or odd. There were approximately 30 people in the room. The meeting was held in the basement of the building. Proposed Republican electors began to introduce themselves, which indicates to the court that some of them didn't know each other. He stated that the purpose of the meeting was then announced.
Which makes it kind of hard to form a conspiracy if you don't know what the hell you're doing or who the hell is there. This creates a problem. Yes, this judge streams every day. She actually has her courtroom camera running. She leaves it running, and I like this. I like this about her. But yeah, she is. Is this the old case or is this a new one? This is from 10 days ago. This is the Michigan false electors case. That she's pointing out, these guys don't know who the hell each other are. How do you have a conspiracy of people you never met? It's kind of hard to do.
It would be the signing of a document, and 2 individuals would needed to be voted in as replacement electors. Leonard further testified that he was nominated to replace Elector Gerald Walls. Renner's testimony was consistent each time he took the stand, which was 3 times during the course of the series of these elections. These examinations, that is. He stated that his takeaways after the meeting, which he also stated per his normal course of business, he memorializes or documents and sends an email when he attends meetings to people, that his takeaways from this meeting was that they were there to develop a slate to be presented to the state Senate, whom they were told could decide which one to adopt, and that if the popular vote results were ever overturned, that the electors would not later have to reconvene. He identified that Attorney Flynn from the Trump campaign was present at that meeting. He also determined, or it was determined, I should say, through Agent Sharp's testimony and investigation, that Flynn was present and involved in this meeting. Renner testified that and identified during his testimony the cover sheet and a signature page that was presented to them and allegedly signed. Renner testified under oath as the people's key witness and the only one of the co-defendants who testified that or of the people's witnesses, that is, who was present during the duration of this meeting, because the people called a lot of witnesses, at least in the first iteration. But Mr. Renner was the only one who was present during this meeting. So he's the only one, other than the Walls, who could talk and not have his right to remain silent be abridged. And he testified that at the meeting, there was no intent to defraud, forge, or etc. And that all of the proposed Republican electors that he encountered were trying to do what they believed was the right thing. Renner testified that they were told that this was an appropriate process by the leaders and the attorneys that were present at the meeting. Renner stated that he believed that if he believed a crime was being committed, that he would not have attended the meeting, and that he would have even challenged the process if he believed that they were trying to commit some crime. He identified or stated himself to be a former law enforcement or person and through the Michigan State Police, and that he prides himself on following the law. Renner states that they were led to.
Oh, shit, hold on. Crap, that went out. But once again, this is a great. Okay, chat, stop. It's about something that happened in 2020, but they didn't get charged for a while. So the case is not from 5 years ago. It's a case that took like 2 years to put together. But yes, this is about the fake electors in 2020. It's about the fake electors in 2020. So it's not a 5-year-old case. It's not something that disappeared for 5 years. It's just like the Trump RICO case. It's taken years to get to where it's at. It took years to get to where it's at right now. That's what we're dealing with. So there were hearings a while ago. Didn't know it finally made it back. Yeah, no, this is finally the judge killing it. Yeah, these court things take time, guys. Yes, these court things take time. So yes, I did totally boomer that. I fully admit that. Adam is saying there was a guy with a device around his neck who claimed that if he had to, it'd go boomer when boom. Yeah, that happened in Erie, Pennsylvania, about an hour away from me. The guy was forced to rob a bank. So, and it's actually pretty sad. Like they still murder the guy. They still murder the guy. It was a really sad way it ended. KRS says it's crazy how long the American court system takes. Well, remember, these guys weren't charged till like 2022. And that's because the prosecutor was investigating it. It took them a long time to put their case together for these people. But like these cases take a while to get through discovery. They got to go to the grand jury. This stuff wasn't immediately fast. You should cover that. I have some involvement and connections with people. I wouldn't feel comfortable covering that, so I can't. That I've since learned about. I really can't do it. I did investigate it, and I looked into it, and I can't be I don't think it's fair if I comment on some things that are in there, so I really can't talk about it. I don't think it's a good idea. So, but yeah, it takes a little while for cases to get going. Takes a little while for a case to get going. I mean, let's see how long Michigan fake electors indicted. How long was it till they got indicted? Yeah, guys, the indictment happened in July of 2023, so it took a long time for this to get done. Oblivious Icarus says fair and speedy trial seems more of a suggestion. Well, I'm sure the attorneys and the defendants were okay with this taking time to get it dismissed. So, anyways, here we go. Let's keep going.
He identified or stated himself to be a former.
And also, if this guy's a cop saying, look, I wasn't intending to, I didn't think we were committing fraud. It's hard to have an intent to commit fraud if you aren't intending to commit fraud.
Law enforcement or a person and through the Michigan State Police, and that he prides himself on following the law. Renner states that they were led to believe that their actions were a part of some legitimate political strategy. His understanding was that no one there was to defraud anyone, and he witnessed nothing based on his testimony that would demonstrate a culpable mind. Those are Renner's words. Those are not the court's words. This is the people's chief witness. Renner testified. It was
that's
his
not
belief
good.
that the Senate could receive both slates and then decide which one they would accept, but that his intent was only for the document to be used if Donald Trump was declared the legal winner. Renner stated he was unaware of what happened with the envelope that allegedly contained this document of alternate signatures that they signed after being turned away from the Capitol. And he also had no clue that the documents were sent to Washington, D.C. There was never any testimony from any witness called by the people or defense otherwise about discussions being had about sending or even considering to send these documents to DC. This case hinges on the element of intent of these actors. And it's the actors that are named in this particular case, which are the nominated electors. This is not the intent of Flynn, the intent of Chesbro, Giuliani, or Donald Trump, but the people that were actually named in this case. Because our state didn't charge, although Agent Shock did say that there were those other individuals listed were unindicted co-conspirators. They were not charged in this case. And so intent may be determined by what these actors, these defendants named here today did or what they said. The court, can attribute much of Mr. Renner's testimony to the understanding and the mindset of his co-actors. And that's much, or if not even all of that testimony. Other than and that's because he was the one that was present, and the information that would have been shared with him would have been shared with the others, if that makes sense. Also, the people called multiple witnesses, and their testimony tends to align largely in part with Mr. Renner's testimony. The people called Troy Hudson, political director for the Michigan Republican Party, testified that his understanding of the purpose of the meeting and the document was to confirm the elector nominees were prepared to vote if Donald Trump later declared the winner of the election. And so that his belief was that the intent of the document was to be contingent. And the court recognizes that the document in question does not say contingent on it, but I think that's semantics. I don't think that the fact that it didn't say contingent doesn't speak to the original intent of the document. Again, intent can be inferred by what they did and what they said. And so witness Stuart Foster testified that he was specifically instructed not to tell the electors why they were coming into the headquarters. I think that was intentional, and I think that information or that direction was from those unindicted co-conspirators who were attorneys and supposedly led this meeting. People's witness Tony Zammit testified that he was told that the electors would sign an affidavit stating that if evidence was found that would overturn the results of the—
Isn't it interesting that the Michigan Attorney General didn't indict the guys? Like, oh, there's a conspiracy to commit fraud. Okay, why not the guys who set up the meeting? Why not the guys who lied to everybody? Isn't it a little weird we didn't do that? Isn't it a little weird they didn't get indicted? Surely they're Republican. Why aren't they being indicted? It's because they know the case is garbage, and had somebody like Trump challenged it, they would have been toast, and this case would have exploded. I truly think this is a situation where they indicted these people, a bunch of boomers, and hope they would just roll over and take a plea or something, and where they would say, "Oh, Donald Trump told us to do it," or something like that. I think that's what they were planning on. But these boomers fought back. These boomers fought back. It is funny and weird. It is very funny and weird. So, and real quick, Marlene, does the prosecutor feel gunned in that small room with all those adversaries? No, because they felt like they're like in charge. You know, prosecutors never get intimidated like that because they're the ones holding all the cards anyway. And if the case is over, they just go back to the office. Like nothing bad happens to them. So no, never. That's usually not a problem. It was never a problem for me when we had multi-defendant cases. Because also remember, you have a neat advantage. Your checkbook is bottomless. Theirs isn't. Bibliophile for 10 subs. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, we are going to go back to, where am I? Oh, right here. So thank you for your support, your generosity. But notice, she's just laying it out. Nobody here knew what they were doing. And this would have been readily apparent to the MSP and the Attorney General's office. So why did they do this? The myopia of conspiracy. Yes, the myopia of conspiracy. Yes. Yes, but this is just, even this judge, she's a Democrat, is like, you guys are fucking awful. There's nothing here. SB Seller says, what phase of the trial is it? It's not a trial. It's not a trial. This is a motion, a pre-trial motion to dismiss. Discovery has gone on, and the defense attorneys are like, this is bullshit. We want the case over. This is a pre-trial motion to dismiss. And I think you're confused. That's not a jury in the back. Those are attorneys and other people. So, how many of these cases were there? 3, 5? Well, there was the Georgia case, the Michigan case, the Arizona case, the Nevada case, and I'm trying to think, was there another one? What else? Who else? I think those were the 4 big ones. Those were the 4 big ones, and all those cases have imploded. So, but yes, there were 4 of them, and they're all dead now. They're all dead now. So, all right, guys, let's get through this judge just BTFOing them.
The elections that the electors would be willing to serve as electors.
So,
supposedly led this meeting. People's witness Tony Zammit testified that he was told that the electors would sign an affidavit stating that if evidence was found that would overturn the results of the elections, that the electors would be willing to serve as electors. Zammit was clear that the intent of the document was to be contingent and that he saw Flynn pick up the document and later overheard him make a statement to the effect of, can you believe I have to send this to the Secretary of State or National Archives? But again, we have Renner who said that there was no testimony, that he had no clue that that was what was going to happen. Zammit also testified that he believes that the electors just listened to what the lawyers who were present made them believe, and that Michigan would be disenfranchised and lose their vote if the election was later overturned, and that this was based on the Hawaii case, which again, they were made aware of by these attorneys that were not named in this case. The people's witness Zammit also testified that he believed the electors were misled and taken advantage of by Flynn, who was an attorney, and this aligns also with some of Renner's testimony. He stated that he believed that defendant Maddock, this is Zammit, Michon Maddock might be culpable. And the court did draw from the proofs that defendant Michon Maddock did seem to be one of the few defendants that had direct communication with the Trump lawyers campaign. People's witnesses or witness Laura Cox also testified that she received a call from the Trump campaign and lawyers, and that they the plan, as she knew it, and she's one of the creators of this meeting, right, the organizers, that the electors were to convene and sign a document stating that if the election was overturned, the electors would serve their duties. She thought this was a good option versus other documents that had been shared with her. Her testimony was that she provided the document to the Michigan Republican Party staff to present at the meeting. She had a key role there. It was her belief, as the person who helped organize this meeting and provided the document that was supposed to be signed, that the case pending, that there were cases pending that could impact the election. That was her belief, and that those pending cases could affect the results, and that she wanted, or that they wanted, their document in place in case the election was ever overturned. She helped organize this meeting. She also testified that she believed that a slate of that she believed that the slate sign would only have power if the election was overturned. This was also based or consistent with Renner's testimony. And so it's easy for the court to assume that this was the idea that was conveyed at the meeting. People's witness Terry Land, who was an original nominee elector, was the only witness, I believe, that the court could reasonably believe or be confident had some sophisticated knowledge about how the electoral process ran, and that's just based on her prior role as a Secretary of State. She testified that she was contacted by defendant Michonne Maddock to attend the December 14th meeting at the request of Trump lawyers. Land said she told Maddock to have the lawyers call her. The lawyers never called her. She never showed. The court believes that was intentional. Just like when the other witness testified that they were told not to tell the electors what they were coming here for, that was intentional, and that the lawyers did not want to disseminate certain information to the electors. I believe that based on the testimony of the Trump campaign, lawyers intentionally kept that information from certain electors, and that they were the ones who controlled the narrative of this meeting. And that, again, is consistent with the people's chief witness, Mr. Renner. People's Exhibit 26 is a picture of the group at the headquarters after this meeting, after they signed this document, and they're posing. And when the court reviews this picture, it appears as if this group of nominated electors believes that they're documenting something important, that this is some historical or monumental moment for them. Typically,
and that's interesting. I don't know if all that's true or not, but yes, if nobody there, and once again, just re-emphasizing the idea, these people didn't know what they were doing. If that's what it's alleged, they had no idea what was going on. Yeah, I think this is very, very difficult for the state to move forward, and I think the judge is correct.
People who are seeking to defraud or deceive do not gather and make a spectacle of that. That would be weird. Now, the people's chief investigator and witness took the stand, and he had a time on the stand. His time on the stand multiple times, because I think there was a time we had to call and recall him multiple times, called into question his credibility as well as his preparedness for this particular case. There were multiple extended pauses in response to questions that was posed to him. He's the chief investigator on this case. This is his baby. He is the only investigator on this case. But he had to make, and the court had to go off the record multiple times to allow witness Shock to review his notes, refine answers on reports, about reports, in case that he again was the sole detective on. Portions of Agent Shock's testimony caused some confusion, or at least appeared to cause him some confusion during the questioning. And he testified that the evidence suggested that Flynn was the one who mailed the documents to DC. Again, Renner testified the electors, he being a substitute elector, had no knowledge of this. Agent Shock testified that he interpreted evidence he received and reviewed to believe that defendant Sheridan relied on guidance from Trump's lawyers, Giuliani and Chesbrough. He testified in this courtroom under oath that the electors did what they were told to do by the lawyers. And the court agrees with the argument made by some of the defense counsel in their bind over, that reliance on counsel's advice, although not an affirmative defense, does tend to refute the government's ability to prove intent. Agent Shock conceded on cross-examination that there was no public record. That was his response. Agent Shock received emails from Chesbrough after swearing to an affidavit of probable cause that would demonstrate that there was no agreement between these named defendants to commit a crime. Although,
Which once again, I don't necessarily agree with her. The idea that you're going to sit there and take pictures shows you think it's not a conspiracy. I think it helps, but I could see people planning and plotting and being proud of it. Kind of like that Time article about the fortifying the election. People proudly talked about it and sat down with Time to discuss it. But yes, this idea that everybody there like thought they were doing God's work. And even during the preliminary hearing when these people initially got charged, if the lead detective is in making admissions that all this wasn't happening, why are they that they're doing this and it's clear they relied on lawyers? Why aren't these lawyers being indicted? Makes you wonder.
To prove intent.
Almost makes you wonder because these guys got indicted down in Wisconsin. I'm sorry, there's a Wisconsin case as well. So Wisconsin indicted Chesbro and John Eastman and whatnot. And then there's the Georgia case where they got indicted. Do you think that was this was worked out where it's like, you guys handle it, we'll focus on our own people? Kind of makes you wonder if these states colluded together. I don't know though.
Agent Shaw conceded on cross-examination that there was
I agree with you.
That was his response.
I ultimately agree.
Agent Shaw received emails from Chesbro after swearing to an affidavit of probable cause that would demonstrate that there was no agreement between these named defendants to commit a crime. Although he put in his affidavit that the electors were told this would be an alternate slate. Agent Shaw testified that he believed Mr. Renner was doing his civic duty when he signed the very same document that the other co-defendants allegedly signed. So that would mean that they were doing their civic duty if I were to believe Agent Shaw's testimony. Agent Shaw testified that he moved forward with authorizing the complaint because of a concerted effort to present a slate to cause a pause in the electoral process. But that's not an element of fraud, and not an element of the charges before the court. This is not an election interference case. And there's many things that could cause a pause in the electoral process, and it doesn't mean that it's criminal. This is a fraud case, and we have to prove intent. And I don't believe that there's evidence sufficient to prove intent. I believe there's insufficient evidence brought on this record to even establish that the defendants were trained or explained to them what their duties would be, and the difference between a duly elected elector versus an elected or nominated elector. Agent Shaw testified that there were no distinctions between the actions of Renner and the other co-actors. That was namely in response to, I believe, Gilbert's cross-examination about his client Thompson. But if there's no real distinction and Mr. Renner was doing his civic duty, then that means that they were all doing their civic duty. The prosecution would like the court to believe that these named defendants were savvy or sophisticated enough to understand fully the electoral process, which the court does disagree, because the document that was presented doesn't even align with the level of sophistication that they want me to believe. This alternate document doesn't state it's an official document of the state of Michigan, doesn't contain a certificate of vote. No one attempted to forge the governor's signature. No one attempted to create a fake seal. There were also some social media posts that the court can interpret as for their intent from. I think it was Ms. Lundgren's social media post indicating that they were in Lansing fulfilling their constitutional right, which doesn't demonstrate an intent to defraud. It's an intent to exercise what you believe is your constitutional right. And she also stated in that post something about they were well documented, meaning that they're preserving their right and they got proof of that they preserved their right. The court could have possibly entertained the concern regarding Michonne Maddox's culpability, but for the People's Exhibit 18, which was a video, but appeared to be a press conference with Michonne Maddox and Sheridan, which clearly states what their intent was. They clearly stated that and this was right after, I guess, after the December 14th meeting, where they said they were executing their constitutional right to allow the senators of the state of Michigan to receive an alternate slate, and then the senators could take further action. They didn't say, first of all, I don't know anybody doing a press conference after they're committing a fraud, but to the extent that that's what we're going to do.
Look at everybody laughing except Look at everybody laughing except these two. And they just look like complete fucking shitheads, don't they? The complete tools. Complete tools. So just look at those two. They just look like, yeah. You'd be a real asshole to do that, huh? Yeah. Oh, buddy. Yeah, suffer prosecutors. Wait a minute, we're going to rewind this just a hair.
A fraud. But to the extent that that's what we're going
I mean, look at everybody laughing except them. But everybody's laughing, but, you know, like, especially as a prosecutor, and everybody's laughing but you. That's not good. That's not a good sign.
their statements make it very clear that they believe that they can seek redress from their state senators, which I believe is a constitutional right. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it was these individuals and many other individuals in the state of Michigan who sincerely believed, for some reason, that there were some serious irregularities with the election or with the voting, and that somehow their candidate didn't receive all the votes that was intended for them. This is not for the court to decide whether that was true or false, but this was their belief, and their actions were prompted by this belief. It is understood that the law provides a mechanism and a time frame for presidential candidates to seek redress for a recount, and that didn't happen in this case. However, it is also understood that the Constitution of the United States provides, under the First Amendment, a guarantee that people can peacefully or peaceably assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances, and sending an alternate document or a document to the state capitol, which is what the testimony was their intention, and that's evidenced by the video. We're the other electors, and we got something that we got to get to them too. They knew that the Democratic electors were there. They weren't trying to sneak and get something that looks like it's the real one and replace the other one. That would be an attempt to defraud. They know that the Democratic electors are there casting their vote. They've been told something about this weird Hawaii case, and they think that they got to get their stuff in on the safe harbor deadline or by December 14th. And so the actors, based on the statement of Ms. Maddox and Ms. Sheridan, were clearly, what the court believes, seeking to get the Senate to move and do some action, because apparently the courts weren't giving them what they wanted. And so in this courtroom, we don't really care your race, color, creed, national origins, religious belief, or your political beliefs, but we do care about the law, and that we believe that it should be applied to protect every individual equally. And I believe that they were executing their constitutional right to seek redress, and that's based on the statements of all of the people's witnesses. And so for those reasons, these cases will not be bound over to the circuit court. Each case will be dismissed.
Mm.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, and she is, Jefferson, yeah, she's saying everything thought. These people had no reason to believe they were doing anything illegal. So if they had no reason to believe they're doing anything illegal, there obviously wasn't an intent to defraud. But notice she kept on pointing out, if you're going to blame somebody, the people you could have blamed, you didn't indict. And it's, once again, why didn't you go after those people as well? You knew who they were. You knew they were around. You heard the information, and now it hasn't happened. Yeah, they were exercising their First Amendment rights, yes. So they've all won, and they all get to leave. Yep, shut down by their own witnesses. Nice. Yes, very true, Jim. Very, very true. Thank you for being here for 19 months as well. And guys, I thought it's a short and sweet, very short thing here, but you want to see some people get BTFO'd. It's a great way to watch some people get BTFO'd. I'm not going to lie. I think it's amazing. And Wheeler925, thank you for being here, is saying, this stupid ass judge is big mad that her favorite party is getting BTFO'd. Yeah, I don't think she's mad that the Democrats have messed this up. She's a judge. She's like, you guys, this is not a fair use of governmental power. And it's reprehensible because it's so clear that there's nothing there, that they didn't do anything about it. And I think that's what pissing her off the most, is like, Why are we not? Why did it take so long to do this? Why did it take so long? And I think she's very upset about that. She's very, very upset about that issue. So, I think that's something that's very, very important there. But yes, there's a judge who was honest about things and didn't want it to happen there. Yep, they went after a bunch of old boomers because they thought they could roll them. That this took so long is the aggravating part. Just 2 years for a criminal case is not too long. I'm sure that the defendants were happy it took this long to get it done. So, remember, this isn't like a murder. So, yeah, it takes 2 years for a frivolous case to be thrown out. Depending on how you fight it, yeah, it could take the time. It could take the time. And remember, ultimately, all these cases were just meant to sully Trump for running again. But Trump ran again anyway and won, so now these cases have no value. Am I going to cover the Karen Reed civil trial, says Kooks? If it's televised, yeah, it'll be kind of interesting because we'll be dealing with the lesser evidentiary threshold, but I'm curious to see how it goes. But yes, I'd be interested in covering it if it's out there. Yeah, 2 years of lifetime when you're under the gun. But I'm sure that they would have rather taken their time here at the preliminary stage before shoving it to trial. So, yeah, when does Karen Reed's trial start? Probably not till 2026. It's not going to start for a while. Karen Reed has it on Zoom Monday. Really? It's already that fast? No way. I can see her having a pre-trial on Monday, but the case starts Monday? Damn. I wish there were actual consequence for these prosecutors. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and 2 years is a lifetime when you're 70. Yeah, from 70 to when you're 40, going 40 to 45, and nothing changes. When you're 70, when you're 60 to 65 is a big jump. 65 to 70 is a huge jump. And then once you turn 70, every year is a massive change. Okay, yeah, that's what you guys are saying. Karen Reed has a pre-trial Monday. Somebody's like, oh, she's got court. It's like, okay, is it the trial or a pre-trial? So it will be on Zoom, though. I will take a look at it. I'll take a look at it, but I probably won't do it live. I'm going to be a little busy Monday all day. You asked this earlier. Sorry, Maddie, I didn't see this. But do you, as a defense attorney, how do you feel about judges streaming their docket like this? Is a good thing? Having courtrooms open is a very good thing. It sucks for your client, but for the overall, the transparency of the courtrooms is great. I don't think it should be on YouTube, though. There should be basically, if YouTube had a section, but I really think you should be able to go online, and for each state in America, you should be able to go to, Michigan, ohiocourts.gov, and in Ohio, there's 88 counties. And you could click on whichever county you want to go to, and then whatever court in that county, and then whatever courtroom inside that courthouse, and there should just be a camera running. There should be a camera running, and if there's an actual docket, those should get recorded, and those should be preserved so people can watch it later. I think that's how it should go. I think that's the best thing, that the way things should be done out there. So... can we really trust the government to make such a system? No, but that's the way. If I was king for a day, that's one of the things I would do to reform the system. You think the judges should read super chats? There should be a TTS that goes off in the middle of court. Yes. So the judge says, "Counsel, hold on 1 second." It comes in. It's like, we have a super chat from Justice Tolerator, Justice Masochist, for $50. We can hear what you're fiddling with. Sorry, I'm playing with the thing where you can spin the miniature around as you're painting it. Sorry. And because it's all magnetic. Idiocracy is leaking. Yeah. It's a courtroom fish tank. Yes. Baldo Hunter for $100 says, this is or $20 to dismiss the case. Yes, chat. Can we get 100 subs? We'll dismiss the case for 100 subs. Oh, yes. Yes. So true. So true. But yeah, very funny. Another. And the Matty B says, go. Well, don't you can go wish me happy birthday. There's a lot you can do there, guys. Over at potentiallycriminal.com. Remember, guys, this was made for me by Matty. He put in a lot of work on this. Come over there. You can take a look at all the fun stuff that's going on there. Is it my birthday? It's not my birthday for another 324 days. But if you wish, you could go down there and wish a happy birthday. Matthew Harris still left one just with the N. So, guys, there's stuff just waiting. There is stuff waiting there for you to go. And then you guys can, you go to the about. And you guys can just come through. You could see everybody that's involved. My Leighton Gay, well, he's going to calculate all the shows. We have 1,010 scheduled shows, 1,010 late shows. How many days? How did you know how many days so easily do you run the Julian calendar? No, I don't know. I only know because it clicks down here. I don't know. It's got a timer. No, that's how I know. But anyways, you guys come back. We going through all the stuff here. And there is all kinds of live messages from people. 2.0's got something. This whole the weekly live stream schedules. There's stuff all down here. And then if you guys want to, you guys can come back over to Chef, the bloggers, and once again, get back to a great game. And once again, guys, Matty just put this together for fun. If you guys need web stuff done, talk to Matty. He's very, very good at this. Very good at this. But we got to get Clyde some sandwich making done. So, all right, chat. There's not, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Oh, look at it, chat. We're gonna do this just like Darkside Phil. Chad, I'm going as fast as I can here. I'm going as fast as I can. Going as fast as I can here. Oh, that one went by. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do. The buttons won't work. Roll mash. Roll mash lag. Roll mash lag. People are lag spiking me, chat. I'm getting lag spiked. This is not fair. I'm getting lag spiked. And all this is happening. There's the net code. That's what, no, too far over. Oh, I'm missing everything. The net code, the lag gets hit in the net code. And Matty is a bad developer for doing that. That's just the reason why I'm not winning. That's a reason why I'm not winning. And Darkside Phil is right. That's how you can tell something's not working right. Because you're losing. And if you're losing, that means it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you're losing. It's never your fault if you're losing. We got another Baldo. It's more Leighton Gay. Oh, no, chat. We're so slow. No. No. Oh, we're looking good now. We're looking good now. Why is it not working? The buttons are frozen. Nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do. What? No. Another Leighton Gay. Why is there no? We're going to lose, chat. We're going to lose. I'm sorry. We're going to lose. No. I'm going to give the authentic experience. Leave the webcam on. Well, no, guys, I need to stretch up for a second. We need to stretch. Right now, we're going to do, guys, if we meet the goal, chat, if we meet the goal for $150, We'll do Fat Man Tries It. I don't know what we're going to try. We'll try something. I'll try some deep fried slop and tell you that it's tangy and robust. It's lag spiking. It's a lag switch. All that lag and you can't win. I know. Fuck, you know, it's just like Phil. You got to blame the game devs. Goddamn game devs. Goddamn game devs. So, ooh, I can't show that gun on the air. Yes, tangy and robust. Urban style individual. Yes, a robust garlic flavor. Luck and Laggets, yes. Marlene says, cute graphics, though. Who made it? Marlene, Maddie B. This guy here, Maddie B made it. He made this whole thing. He made the website. He made the game. He did the entire thing. He coded all of it. So Maddie the mod did that for my birthday. So meme copiuming. But yes, no, he made it all. Hey, you know what? Darkside Phil does it, and it works for him, so I'm going to do it too. Yes, all the contributions today, chat, were for yesterday, so from here on out, anything out from today will count towards the goal. We're going to back count. We're going to back count support. But let's get some support right now. We need some support out there, chat. Maddie says, Maddie, you are based. We can watch the Chicago protest. Yeah, that was interesting. I heard it was pretty good. Maddie took the lib's advice and learned to code. He did a great job. You stop everything until the pennies are all counted. Ryobi Powered Vibe says, can we get a Stonies? Of course, it's time for a Stonies read. I forgot to do one last night. I haven't done those lately as much, and I feel bad. But chat, you know, if you are looking to go somewhere, it's Friday night. You know what? It's time for Stonies. It's time for Stonies. And what do you do at Stonies? Well, chat, you get yourself a road pop. And you hang out at 1580 Broadway Street in Rockville, Minnesota, guys. And you know, Stonies had happy hour till 8. They did keys for cash, and they have a free jukebox tonight. Tomorrow they have, you know, and then free jukebox tonight. Tomorrow, 6 ways to Sunday in the Stonies Garage from 1 to 4. And Presumed Innocent debuts on the Fireball stage 8 till midnight. But guys, that's right. The patio's still going. The garage is still going. Stonies is going all out for you guys. So join them. Join them. It's the best place to go in Rockville, Minnesota. Go ahead and go crank your hog in front of the townsfolk. They'll appreciate it. It's like the town tradition there. You're in town, you just crank your hog, and everybody claps and cheers, and it's stunning and brave. Remember, chat, when you're going to Stonies, you know, they even got it on the door here. $2.50 cans. What the hell else can you do for that right there? I mean, really, can you ignore that? That is a sign from God. That is a sign from God to go to Stonies. And, you know, it's Stonies Bar and Grill. Like, it's the place to go, chat. And they got, you know, and then you guys go here. You got the front door. And then if you guys come around, we talked about it before, but you guys can't see it. But here's that beautiful new patio they have at Stonies. And then up here, guys, that is Stonies Garage. That is where you'll see the band tomorrow afternoon. And then on the main stage inside from 8 to midnight. But look at that patio, chat. They got those spools of cable out there. You know, what better way to have a table than a cable spool? I mean, guys, I don't know what more to tell you. I don't know what more you need. And then, you know, if you guys get an apartment over here, over at the Broadway Center Apartments, God, those look like where you can go do heroin. Anyway, get an apartment right here, get drunk, and you'll be right next to Stoney's. What better way to live your life? You can go get some cabinets afterwards. I mean, look, they got everything. I don't know what more. Custom-made desk. You know, they might even make you a cuck chair if you go ask them nicely. They might even make you a cuck chair. I don't even know what this is here. Oh, the Merry Moose. The Merry Moose Preschool. And then they got trucks. And they got, I like this. Near me in the town I'm in, they have a big paint thing on the mural. There's like a diner. And they've got their thing painted on the side of the building. I think that's so cool when they do that. Like that old, like that's an Americana vibe. But look, after you're done, you can come down to the Hideaway and do some gambling like a degenerate piece of shit. But anyways, chat, get back down to Stoney's. I mean, look. And then after you're done at Stoney's, you can go find a gold. A gold. But there you go, chat. There is your promised land. There you go. Preschool right across from bar. Stay classy. Yeah. Yes, ads painted on buildings are key. Drop your kids off and get hammered. Yes. 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 I'm sold. I just need to travel 1,500 miles. So do I. I think I need to travel. I don't know. Actually, I got to see how far this is. How far is this? How far is Stoney? So I need to go. And then I need to go all the way to Rockville. Where is it? Rockville, Minnesota. Where the hell is it? It's up by St. Cloud, right? Yeah. Did I miss it? No, there we go, Rockville. I thought I found it. I was like, where the hell did it go? Stoney's Bar. Measure distance. Okay, from there, we're going to go all the way to me. Well, it's that far, but it's only 700 miles, like straight line. Let's see how far it is, like actual driving. I think we've done this before, but I don't remember. Directions. Starting point, home. Look, goodbye, home. Oh, that's not too bad, you guys. This isn't that bad a drive. It's only 12 and a half hours for me to get to Stoney's. You know, we'll be going all the way through. Going all the way through Cleveland, Toledo, Chicago. I don't know why it's doing this. Shouldn't we be coming over this way? Yeah, that makes more sense. Why does it just fucking stay off screen? Anyways, almost 12 and a half, 13 hours all the way there. All the way through Minneapolis. So yeah, it's not that far, but it's far enough. So only 13 hours and 26. Too close to Chirac. Yeah, well. Stop over at Hammond, Indiana. Anderson Cooper says, my route lets me swing by and pick you up on the way there. Well, then we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll go the whole way there. I would fly to Stoney's. Yeah. It's a 19-hour drive for you. Damn. Yes, everybody should know their distance to Stoney's. Everyone should know their distance to Stoney's. The gates of Toledo, yeah. Ryobi says 13 hours to get the beer. It's not about the beer. It's the vibe. And Anderson Cooper says, meet me at the I-80 rest stop. Well, which one? There's multiple rest stops. It's like the Matchbox songs, like just 3 miles from the rest stop. You know, She said, while you were sleeping, and I was whistling to the radio, wondering what you're dreaming when it came to mind that I didn't care. I live near I-80. Well, yeah, in Ohio, it's the turnpike. So you're in SoCal, you would have to fly. Well, with that attitude, sure. If only there were an aluminum tube that would take you to Stoney's. Yes. BS2 Chipper says, hi. Hello. Meme wants to go to Stoney's. I know. So do I. So do I. I'm not accepting an invitation to an interstate rest stop. Well, there's that idea too. But you'll never have adventure. You'll never find adventure with that attitude, Durna. I-80 goes straight to New York. Yes, it does. But in Ohio, it's the turnpike. But yes, 80 goes all the way across the country. It's going to take you 20 hours, Ag? Oh, that's not too bad. It's going to be easy driving. You're not going cities. I'd be dealing with, cities, and it's a pain in the ass. Or genital warts. Okay, well, yeah, there is that risk, Durna. There is that risk. Just have to master travel by blackout drunk, and then it's just a blink away. Yes, I-80 goes through the middle of America. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Okay. 14 hours for you guys. Hella says I could be there in 23 hours and 44 minutes. Well, that would be funny. That'd be funny. You go to customs. What's your business here? Oh, me going to a bar. I'm going to a bar. And they're like, what? Coke Fairy says 3,900 miles for me to see. For me. See you soon. I will start walking now. Yeah. You gotta start. Well, you're gonna have to walk all the way up to Iceland and Greenland and walk on the stuff there. Ag says, to be fair, I could just fly. I have family near Rockville. Be careful wishing for aluminum tubes. The Iranians lusted after those, and the small hat people were displeased. Yeah, it'll take you 6 months with a wagon. I could see that. That'd be kind of funny. It'd be funny and weird. 20-hour drive for Maddie. All right, guys. Well, that is it. We are done. And I think the air gun is cleaned. So we're going to take a look at that tonight and see if we can actually get some of this fucking helicopter painted. Because it would be really nice to get it done. It would really be nice to get some of it done. It's a little kind of embarrassing that the helicopter can't get painted. So we're going to set that for, what time is it right now? 10:27, 10:35. And we'll do the casino. We'll listen and we'll see. I know the casino's going tonight, right? So we'll go ahead and hang out and do some models and all that fun stuff. It's just frustrating when you're trying to work on shit and it doesn't want to go. So I think we're all set, though. So we'll try it again tonight, chat. We'll see what happens. There's no casino tonight? Why? They got run off. They got scared. They're streamless, chat. There's no stream. They're subless. They don't have any subs. Watch Meme play Silk Song. Is he doing it tonight? Oh my God, I'll watch that. The Courtroom said on X he wants to go in Keno Casino. I don't think so. Yeah. Mersh got him. Gordon's Fisherman, thank you. Is a new member. Thank you. If you could pay me with fish sticks, that'll be great. If Casino was on, I'd be there. Yeah. Meme starting up in 2 minutes. Okay, well, I need a couple minutes to get set up. Allegedly, they're working on Keno Ween already. Yeah, but I don't care. I need content. They need to dance for those subs. So they're hiding from iDubbbz and Jeremy. All right, guys, I'm going to end it here. We are going to redirect over to the model channel so you guys don't have to worry about it. And we're going to try to get this fucking helicopter going and see if it finally fucking works. Because if I can get the air gun to work, that's kind of the biggest thing here. Kind of the biggest thing at this point. So, let's get that going. But in the meantime, chat, thank you all for being here. Tomorrow we are going to play Factorio. I promised you guys that. We'll do it before Medicare goes live. We'll spend like 2 hours, 3 hours playing it. And that's because I promised you guys I do it, because you guys met the goal. On Monday we were with Ryan. So we're going to play fucking Factorio. I'm just like, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it, chat. Apparently we're going to build trains. I'm interested. We'll build some trains and see if I can get OBS going, it's going to be perfect. So we'll do that. Let me see. And we'll see if the Only Planes guys are live, because that'll be a fun one as well. See what the Only Planes guys are up to. We talked about them one night on Discord, locals. But there's a channel called Only Planes, and these guys are in Australia, and they just sit at an airport, and they film airplanes landing, and they talk about them for like hours and hours on end. And some of you are like, that's really retarded. And it's like, it is. That's the point. So, let's see here. Is it a Pinochet chopper? No, it's not a Huey. I will read the super chats. Hold on. Bella says for $5, fine. John Coben for $2 says, what's your cat's name and how many pets do you have? Well, we have 2 cats. Then 2.0 have brought those with her. One of them is named Callie. One of them name's Chewy. And then we have the 2 dogs. We have Clyde and Lainey. Debbie O says for $5, don't tease Clyde, but do let him know I have a shipment of peens for him. Just waiting to. Oh, Debbie, thank you so much. You don't have to do that, but we appreciate it certainly. But thank you. I have a shipment of peens for him, just waiting to pull out the quilting fabric to ship all at once. Well, thank you, but we appreciate that. But totally unnecessary. But thank you so much. Thank you. John Coleman says, why don't you advertise at gay bars in Cleveland? Because they don't pay me. And Aaron doesn't go to the gay bars in Cleveland. He goes to the gay bar in Rockville, Illinois. That's why. Duh. And they also don't pay me. Oh. Did you get Space Age or nah? I didn't realize there was a difference. Like, I grabbed the first one. Should I have gotten the Space Age or no? Because I got the regular Factorio. Because the regular one looks like the regular one looks fun. Yeah, I got your super chats, guys. I saw them. Extremely autistic like the Japanese are into trains, yes. It's a Metroidvania type game, Maddie. Oh, about Silk Song? Yeah. So we're going to watch Meme play it. See who can play it better. You have serious doubts I'll make it to trains in 3 hours? I don't know there. I don't know. We'll try. We'll take a look at it. Chat. But is your wig giggy? Yes, it is. All right, guys. I got to stop so we can switch up and get everything cleaned up and ready to go. Like I said, tomorrow Factorio, we're going to try it. We'll LARP as Destiny for a bit. I can't. It's hard. I don't know how I don't take meth, so I can't doing that, but we'll work on it. So you won't make it there, but it's worth trying. All right. Well, we'll see if I get into it or not. Just don't turn into a cuck. Never. All right, chat. I will see you guys in a minute. And just remember, in the meantime, just because you signed election documents doesn't mean you're guilty. Suffer, Michigan. Suffer, Gretchen Whitmer. suffer. So good night, chat. I'll see you guys in a minute.
Weapons, blacksmithing, and models of planes, esoteric works, and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting, and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy